What if the friends you trusted most became the reason you disappeared? They were best friends. They shared secrets, laughter, and dreams. But behind the smiles, jealousy was waiting. Bright Future College had many students, but there were three girls who everyone knew, everyone admired, and everyone whispered about. They were Bimbo, Brenda, and Bianca. Together, they were famously called Triple B. Their nickname spread quickly because they were beautiful, bold, and brilliant. When they walked into the school compound, people stared. When they passed through corridors, whispers followed. Everyone wanted to be near them. Everyone wanted to be them. Bimbo and Brenda had known each other since childhood. They grew up together, played together, and went to the same primary school. They shared secrets, dreams, and laughter. They promised each other that nothing would ever break their friendship. Their families were middle class, not poor, not rich. They had enough for school, food, and small treats. But luxury was something they rarely experienced. Bianca joined Bright Future College in junior class 2. She was stunning, confident, and extremely smart. Her parents were rich, powerful, and well connected. Being an only child, she was raised in comfort and luxury. Bianca immediately caught everyone's attention, but what really stood out was her intelligence. In junior school, Bianca and Bimbo became friends first. They were the smartest girls in their class. They represented their class in every school competition. They studied together, won prizes together, and supported each other. Through Bimbo, Bianca became friends with Brenda. The three girls formed a bond that quickly grew strong. By senior class 2, Triple B ruled the school. They worked together with confidence. They laughed together with charm. They attended every event with style. Teachers praised them. Juniors stayed. Seniors respected. But behind their smiles and laughter, something quietly stirred, a subtle tension, a spark of envy, and little did anyone know, this spark would soon grow into a fire that could destroy everything. For a while, the friendship between the three girls continued, but inside Brenda's heart, something was wrong. She was no longer happy. Brenda began to feel left out. She noticed that Bimbo now spent more time with Bianca. They studied together. They talked quietly. They shared jokes she did not understand. Brenda felt pushed aside. To her, Bianca was no longer just a friend. She was an obstacle standing between her and Bimbo, her childhood friend. Brenda smiled in public, but in private, bitterness grew. Then came Principal, the SS3 head boy, the hottest guy in the school. Calm, handsome, and impossibly smart. Every girl had a crush on him. Bimbo admired him secretly, while Brenda's crush ran deep. She dreamt of being the girl Prince Will noticed, but the twist came as a shock. Prince Will had already noticed Bianca. From afar, he admired her intelligence. It wasn't long before they met during a school competition. Their friendship grew naturally. They laughed together, shared ideas, and slowly their bond deepened. Prince Will's admiration blossomed into love, and soon they were a couple in school, sharing stolen glances and whispered words. When Brenda found out, her world crumbled. She ran to Bimbo, tears staring down her cheeks. "Bianca, she snatched Prince Will from me. I can't believe this," she cried, her voice shaking with betrayal. The tension exploded into a serious altercation at school. Brenda confronted Bianca. and they exchanged harsh cutting words. Voices raised so loud that other students gathered around in shock. The fight was so intense that the school management had no choice but to intervene. Both girls were given 1 week suspension. Bianca's parents, rich and influential, immediately called the school. Her suspension was revoked. Brenda, however, had to serve a full week away from school. Her anger intensified. Her jealousy turned into hatred. Meanwhile, Bianca and Princeville continued their affair while the school buzzed with rumors they could not fully explain. Bimbo, caught in the middle, became the bridge between her childhood friend and her school best friend. After school, she would visit Brenda at home. She narrated everything happening in school, every laugh, every glance, every moment between Bianca and Princeville. Every story added fuel to Brenda's anger. Her heart hardened. By the time Brenda returned from her suspension, things had changed irreversibly. The friendship that once seemed unbreakable was now fragile. The triple B were still together in school, still admired and envied, but underneath, cracks had begun to form. It was another ordinary day at Bright Future College. Students moved between classes, laughed with friends and whispered about the latest school gossip. Bimbo, Brenda and Bianca walked through the corridor as usual, but even on a normal day, the tension between them was noticeable. Brenda's eyes followed Bianca more closely than usual, her jealousy shimmering under the surface. Then came Bianca's 15th birthday, a day that was meant to be filled with laughter and surprises. Prince Ray, ever charming and thoughtful, surprised Bianca with a beautiful gift during school hours. Bianca's face lit up. She opened the gift carefully. Inside was a delicate necklace and a small handwritten note. "Oh my God, Prince Will, this is amazing," she whispered, hugging him tightly. She immediately ran to Bimbo, sharing her excitement. Bimbo's eyes sparkled with happiness, though a part of her knew she had to tell Brenda. Later, Bimbo told Brenda and recounted the details. Brenda listened quietly. Her hands trembled. Her jealousy boiled silently, gnawing at her heart. The news that Bianca and Princeville would spend time alone all afternoon only fueled her bitterness. After school, Princeville came to Bianca. He took her to a fancy restaurant in town. They laughed, shared stories and even danced to a soft music playing in the background. They talked about dreams and the funny things that had happened in school. Hours passed like minutes. For those few hours, everything was perfect. After the outing, Bianca and Princeville parted ways, each taking different cabs home. Bianca waved, smiling, but that smile would never reach her parents. Bianca's parents grew anxious. They tried calling her phone. It was switched off. Panic surged through them. They called the school immediately. The school security searched everywhere, classroom, hostels and nearby streets, but Bianca was nowhere to be found. The next morning, the news spread like wildfire across the school. Bianca was missing. Students whispered and pointed fingers. Teachers were worried. Parents were on the phone trying to find answers, and all eyes turned to Prince Will. He was the last person to see her. Some students said, Prince Will, calm and confident as always, now felt the weight of suspicion. He tried to explain, but the whispers and stares drowned out his voice. What began as a normal school day had now spiraled into fear, panic and questions with no answers. Princeville was arrested, calm, composed and confused. He tried to explain to the authorities that he and Bianca had only gone out to celebrate her birthday, but no one believed him. The whole school was in chaos. Students cried, rumors flew, and friendships were tested. Bimbo and Brenda wept uncontrollably, even though they had reasons to feel relief. or perhaps satisfaction. They couldn't escape the hollow ache in their heart at the thought of Bianca's missing. At the police station, Prince's parents were devastated. They couldn't believe their son, the head boy admired by all, was being treated as a suspect. They pleaded with the officers, desperate to understand how something so terrible had happened. Bianca's parents too were heartbroken, their worry turning into panic and sorrow as the hours stretched into an endless night. Weeks passed, but Prince remained in police custody. Investigation dragged on, evidence was gathered, and the school tried to move on as if nothing had happened. Classes returned to normal, teachers resumed lessons, and students whispered about the incident in hushed tones. Yet a shadow hung over the hall, one that no one could ignore. Meanwhile, Bimbo and Brenda acted as if Bianca had never existed. Laughter returned to their lips. School life went on. But deep inside, fear and unease festered. Bimbo couldn't shake the thought of the truth. The dark secret that weighed on her heart. Every day, she felt herself getting closer to a breaking point. One afternoon, Bimbo confided in Brenda, her voice trembling. "I don't think I can hide it anymore. I can't keep this secret in my heart." Brenda's eyes darkened. She grabbed Bimbo's hand tightly and whispered, almost threateningly, "Don't you dare say a word. Bianca deserves what she got. No one can know, or it's over for both of us." Bimbo's stomach twisted. Fear, guilt, and desperation battled inside her. Could she stay silent forever? Could she live with the truth buried in her heart, knowing someone was suffering while she held the secret? The answer haunted her every working moment. And so, the school carried on. Prince suffered behind bars, and the halls that once echoed with laughter of the Triple B were now filled with secret, fear and silent guilt, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Months had passed since Bianca went missing, but Bimbo felt heavy with guilt. Every night, her heart ached, and she could not sleep. She knew she could not hide the secret any longer. With tears in her eyes, she went to the parish priest to confess. She knelt and cried, "Father, I did something terrible. I can't keep it in my heart anymore." The priest listened quietly. Then he said gently but firmly, "My child, if you want to be free from this guilt, you must tell the truth. You must go to the authorities. Bianca's parents deserve to know what happened to their daughter." Bimbo nodded, shaking. The priest immediately called her parents. When they arrived, she broke down completely. Through her tears, she told them everything. She started with the birthday outing. She told how Prince had taken Bianca to a fancy restaurant after school. She explained how Brenda asking her to go along, saying they had to teach Bianca a lesson she would never forget. Bimbo's voice trembled as she told how Brenda called her boyfriend, a Yahoo boy, to help them carry out their plan. She told how her boyfriend followed Bianca and Princewell, waiting for the right moment to act. How Brenda's boyfriend, disguised as a cab driver, picked Bianca up without her knowing it was part of a trap. Then she told the worst part, how the cab driver took Bianca to a quiet remote place, how fear and confusion filled Bianca's eyes, how they killed her, and how some part of her body was sold for money. She admitted how they shared the ransom money among themselves. Every word made her chest tighten with pain. Her parents could not hold it in. They cried uncontrollably, their hands shaking, their face full of sorrow. They begged the priest, "Please, we don't want her to go to jail. She is our daughter. We cannot lose her too." The priest shook his head serious. "No, Bianca was also someone's daughter. An only child, she deserves justice. Her parents deserve to know the truth. You must do the right thing. Bimbo's heart raised. Her hands shook, but she knew it was time. With her parents at her side, they drove to the police station. Inside, Bimbo told the police everything. She confessed her role in the crime, how Brenda had planned it all, how her boyfriend followed Bianca and Prince Will, how they killed Bianca, and how the ransom money was shared. She admitted she was an accomplice, and she told every detail with tears streaming down her face. For the first time, the truth was out. Bimbo felt a small relief in her heart, but she knew life would never be the same again. Justice for Bianca had finally begun. The news of Bimbo's confession spread like wildfire. The police acted immediately. Brenda was arrested, her face pale and her eyes wide with fear. As the weight of her action finally caught up with her, students whispered, teacher gasped, and the halls of Bright Future College were alive with shock and tension. Bimbo, though terrified, felt a strange relief. She had carried the secret too long, and now the truth was finally out. Meanwhile, at the police station, Princeville was released. The authorities now knew he had no part in Bianca's disappearance. His parents held him tight, tears of relief streaming down their face. Princeville, shaking but strong, tried to process everything that had happened. His heart still ached for Bianca, but at least justice was beginning to be served. Back at school, the students could hardly believe it. They whispered about how jealousy could turn friendship into tragedy, and how even the smartest and most popular could fall into darkness when greed and envy took over. Bimbo and her parents met with Bianca's parents in private. Tears and apologies filled the room. Bimbo begged for forgiveness, her voice breaking with sorrow. Bianca's parents, though devastated beyond words, nodded silently. They had lost their only child, but at least now they knew the truth. The authorities worked swiftly. Those involved in the crime were apprehended and charged in court. Bimbo and Brenda, both only 15 years old, were sent to juvenile detention, while Brenda's boyfriend, the cab driver who had helped in the murder, was sent to prison. Justice was served, but the pain and grief of Bianca's loss lingered. Bright Future College slowly returned to normal, but the memory of Bianca's bright smile and the terrible event that followed remained etched in everyone's heart. Students whispered the lesson to one another: choose your friends wisely, guide your heart, and never let envy take over your life. As for Prince Will, he continued his studies, wiser and more careful about whom to trust. He honored Bianca's memory in silence, letting her story remind her and everyone else that life is fragile, friendships are precious, and choices have consequences. Lessons from the story. This story teaches us that the friends you choose can shape your destiny for better or worse. Not everyone who smiled with you is truly on your side. Some friendships are built on envy, greed, and hidden agendas, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Be mindful of those you trust, because jealousy can turn the people closest to you into the very ones who may hurt you most. Your choices matters. Protect your heart, your dreams, and your peace. Surround yourself with people who lift you, not those who secretly wish to bring you down. Remember, envy destroys, trust empowers, and the truth always finds a way to shine. Thank you so much for staying with us to the very end of this emotional and heartbreaking story. Your time, your attention, and your support mean everything to us. If this story moved you, shocked you, or taught you a lesson, please don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needed to hear this message, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We truly want to hear from you. Most importantly, subscribe to this channel for more powerful, emotional and mind-opening stories, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our uploads. Thank you for being part of our storytelling family. Until next time, stay safe, choose your friends wisely, and remember, your future matters. I love you all. God bless you.